right. Okay, welcome everyone. This is Sunday, the 18th of December, and we are in the frequency of Gene Key 11. And tomorrow is my birthday, and so I'm excited to do this transmission of Gene Key 11. And really, what I love to talk about is just on a broader level about the gene keys is how freaking magical they are, which is why I'm doing this series and which is why people have asked me to keep doing the series whenever I took a pause, because there's something, this is living wisdom. And I'm doing these transmissions from somebody else's transmissions, and that's how the living part happens. It just keeps evolving and growing, and different body minds, like my body mind, gets to bring through the transmission as this template. So there's no right or wrong. And when you read your life work, you will become astounded at some of the synchronicities that you'll read. That's what happened to me, but it didn't happen to me at the very beginning, because I will tell you that when I first started reading Gene Key 11, I was like, what does this even mean? And that might be your experience if you've ever read the Gene Keys, and you don't even need to. I say this all the time. These transmissions stand on their own. I don't have technical information in them, so you don't need to know anything. You can just receive. And we have all 64 gene keys. We have them all. These are the energetic DNA. So just receive. You know, I like it when I like to say, like, you know how when you're gazing at something and you can either focus really hard or you can do the soft gaze that opens up your peripheral vision. Do the soft listening that opens up your peripheral listening. So if you're not a gene key person, then you're opening up peripheral listening for you, and you'll hear something that you need to specifically hear today. You'll hear it. So when you have a gene key in your life work, that is it's where the sun consciously lights it up. You're aware of it. It's the karma that you've been bringing into this life, fully prepared to do this. As I said, when I first read 11, which is the shadow of obscurity, the gift of idealism, and the ultimate city, the divine expression of light. I love it. Welcome, Anjali. All right, from Taiwan, soft listening. Oh, yeah, I'm probably more on your timeline, but I started a little bit early because I'm in a different time zone. I'm in Tulum, Mexico, and it's so beautiful to be in the warm weather. So welcome all of you who are here and who will watch the replay. So Gene Key 11 is called the Light of Eden, and it ends our circuit of the Ring of Light. So we've had 4 gene keys we've been exploring of different light codes. This gene key is, I mean, I get chills just talking about it, because it's really about confronting your shadow, going deep into the darkness to discover your light. And in this gene key, what we're saying is your light is within. The light is not without. It is not the sun shining on you. It is you as the sun, as the divine. Take that in for a moment. That just fully gives me chills. And so you will have, every one of us, because we have these codes in us. And if you have this as your life work, then I'm going to share a little bit more about that shows up for me. And it won't show up for you as the same. Each of us has our own canvas. But if you have it inside your sequence, maybe your Pearl sequence or your Venus sequence, there are 3 sequences inside of the gene keys that Richard Rudd channeled. And one of them is your activation, which is where the life work comes from. So you don't even need to know any of that. That's just for people who at the right time will go deeper. Sometimes, we come into systems and we're just like, I don't have bandwidth for another system. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole. And then another time you're like, okay, I'm fully going down the rabbit hole. And that's what happened to me. And then I first started reading the Gene Keys, and Richard Rudd says, don't talk about the Gene Keys for 2 years. Just contemplate. And so these are a system of contemplation, and these are a result of my contemplation. And if I were to watch myself in a year from now, it would be a different contemplation, because I will get new revelation on this Gene Key 11. And particularly I will, because I'm living it. So 11 is about finding the light within. You know, we've talked about different fractal patterns around light, like the ability to bend light, the ability to bend time. Those are part of the Gene Keys. The ability to market and share, that's Gene Key 26 we talked about last week. Sales, so interesting that it coincides with these light codes. Today, the light code is a deep light code about facing your darkest fear. And if you haven't done it yet, you will do it. I hate to say that, but just so that you know that that's normal. That's normal for being on the path. You will face your darkest fear. And honestly, it's a gift. I'll say in my life that there were times that I knew that I was going to face my darkest fear, and I was trying to face my darkest fear, but I was too afraid to face it. That's kind of a funny irony, but it's true. It was like my fear would be the fear of abandonment, the fear of existential annihilation, the fear of being alone, forgotten, not just alone, but forgotten. Like, you don't matter, like, oh, we forgot you. And so you can imagine that that deep fear of mine would show up over and over and over again. Like, one of the things was when I was younger, in just beginning school, like kindergarten, first grade, I was enormously shy. So that was the shadow frequency of obscurity. That also shows up in people who are so left brain, because this is a very right brain gene key, but the shadow's the left brain. And I was trained as a lawyer, so how can you get any more left brain than that? So it's that shadow where I think I know. So if ever you're in this mindset where you've made life small because it's manageable and you can, quote, know things, you're in obscurity, which means that you're hiding yourself from truth. You're hiding yourself from the light. And it could be a protective mechanism. There's nothing wrong about that. It's just that it's not the truth. And the truth will always is the thing that sets you free. It will reveal itself to you time and time again until you choose to look at it. So when I was little, I was super shy because I believed that I came into this earth with a storyline that I wasn't supposed to be here. Does anyone else have that? You feel like you're not supposed to be here. I felt like I was here for my mother and I wasn't here for myself, that I didn't have a self. That has since completely transformed itself as I stepped deeper into the light. And how did I do that? Deeper into my shadow. So as a little girl, they would, they would take attendance by reading your name, and they would always get stuck at my name. And so I would have this excruciating embarrassment around people not being able to say my name and avoiding me because they couldn't say my name. So therein lies like another ping of the wound. But that's how the sacred wound, as we study when we look at the Shiro's journey, constantly brings us to ourselves. So I had to have that experience over and over and over again to become this woman here doing a live stream video to the world. So I bet you can relate to that in some way. The universe is honorable. It will continually bringing to you the thing you need, the thing you are afraid of, so that you can break through into the light. So 11 is about, we call it the light of Eden. How do we restore Eden, the Garden of Eden? to bring us back. Like, I love the Course in Miracles. It says, you never left. You find out that you actually never really left. But it's a journey to that finding out. You've got to confront the demons. You've got to confront your worst fears. And my worst fears were that existential annihilism, that fear that I don't exist, the fear that I don't matter. The ego I has these fears. Because truthfully, all of that's true, right? But you can't jump through. You can't, like I said last week, you got to be a self in order to have no self. You can't just bypass that. So the irony that Gene Key 11 illuminates for us, brings to light, is that that very fear that I don't matter is the truth, because there's no I. But we can't know that until we become an I. So the path of spiritual growth is to become someone, and then eventually unbecome that someone. And that's the city, the light, when you merge into divine light. When you have really moved through all the archetypal patterns till there's no archetype left, and you merge with the light of the divine. So Gene Key 11, we're here to bring the light. And so for me and Hecate, the archetype of the goddess of darkness, does that give you an irony? That's the star I was born under. So I had to go into the darkness and become friends with it in order to bring the light. And the color of Hecate is the color of dawn, the sunset, the time, the liminal time between light and dark. She is that color, that golden light. That's the color of Hecate. Isn't that freaking awesome? So the other incredible part about this is the gift frequency. So we go from obscurity to light through the pathway of idealism. It's so interesting that he named it idealism. Idealism is much aligned in our culture. You're being idealistic, right? We consider realism to be the thing. And what the Gene Keys say is that realism is really the structure for magic. So it's the structure for idealism. And I'm going to give you an example. I'm launching tomorrow the Divine Feminine, not the Divine Feminine. I just got thrown off because I wanted to see what Jessica said. Why am I here? I only have gate 11 in your ajna. Yeah, okay, me too. Awesome. Right. So that's human design talk. I have gate 11. I have the channel. That's that channel, which is what you're seeing right here, Jessica, that channel of curiosity that links ideas with storytelling. Okay, so tomorrow is launching the Evolving Sisters Network. That network is this portal. So I began with a vision, and that vision came to me through the right brain. I had COVID in Mexico 6 months ago, and I knew from the Divine Feminine Summit, it had just ended in that like May area. I knew that something new was coming, but I didn't know what it was. And I was told that I would know as I moved into deeper rest. I didn't know that deeper rest for me was going to mean COVID. And of course that makes sense, because resting, I don't do, I'm constantly like exploring. So I got totally taken down. And what really kicked in was my right brain. So let me just pause for a second and say that before that, I was doing the Divine Feminine Summit. What did I do inside the Divine Feminine Summit? I interviewed feminine leaders to activate you in an archetype of the Divine Feminine. My friends, that is Gene Key 11. That is the gift frequency of Gene Key 11. I didn't even know that that was the gift frequency of 11 until I did my first Divine Feminine Summit. And I got this idea somehow to activate archetypes. I knew it wasn't going to be a normal summit with just interviews. It was an activation. I don't know how I got that idea. All I can tell you, it was in my DNA. And that's what Gene Key 11 is all about. That's what all the Gene Keys are about, the codes inside your DNA. So you really want to know your life work. You really want to contemplate it. You want to spend 2 years thinking about it. So when I found that out, I was like, holy wow, you cannot make this stuff up. So it's about the right brain and the activation of the divine feminine, who is the right brain, bringing through archetypes. So typically Gene Key 11 people are channelers. They're really out there. They can be super out there. Today, my friend Janet, who some of you know, Janet Raftis, and she and Ina make up the Kairos Healing Academy. I'm with them this week celebrating our goddess sisterhood and our birthdays, and Janet's birthday is today. And she's a channeler, and she gets total downloaded information from goddess energy. In fact, from energy of the oracles, particularly at Delphi. But that's so interesting, right? Because that's her expression of Gene Key 11. That's not my expression of Gene Key 11. I was trained as a lawyer. I was totally into the left brain, which is part of Gene Key 11 people are teachers because they have left brain capacity. Janet studies a lot, so she brings in the left brain in that way. But her gift is the right brain. So let's fast forward to my right brain experience. And this is important for y'all to hear how this stuff, the mechanics of how this stuff works so that you can apply it to yourself. And also I'm making an announcement, a super cool bird just landed out there. So beautiful. So I'm now making an announcement too. I'm coupling this with the announcement that's coming tomorrow about the opening of my membership platform, the Evolving Sisters Network, which is found on evolvingsisters.com. That's always been my company name, but I didn't have any offerings around it. So I go and I have COVID and I'm sleeping a lot, and I'm loving sleeping a lot. Actually, I was super like, oh my God, I need this. And I'm dreaming. What is dreaming? Dreaming is the right brain. I'm hallucinating. It feels so real. I don't even know. I just knew that I was seeing something from non-ordinary reality. Let's just say that. And that's what Gene Key 11 does. It activates your ability to see non-ordinary reality. Now, I want to say see in quotes because you might visualize it. It might come through that, especially if it's your life work, because Gene Key 12 is, Gene Key 12 is our evolution, and that brings through language. So it's like visualization and language, which is where we get a lot of the channelers. So I'm getting these downloads on this global sisterhood that comes together through a platform. And I'm writing these things down, and I'm communicating to my friend in Australia through WhatsApp what I'm seeing. And that becomes the birth of the platform. Now, here's the important thing. The shadow frequency of 11 is people who get that kind of stuff and they don't do anything with it. They just live inside their own fantasy. So fantasy and delusion are part of the obscurity of Gene Key 11. So it's really important for our tribe, for all of us in community, to know that when we have a vision, it's very important for you to focus and manifest it, bring it into manifest reality. And my friends, my sisters, that's what happened. So tomorrow the doors open, it's manifested, it's built. Over the last 5 months, 6 months, I've been in deep building mode. That's my North Node, the master builder, brick by brick, putting together all the pieces, hiring the people. And I used this analogy a little bit earlier. I did a live stream, so you can tap into that either on the YouTube channel announcing, or on the Facebook announcing the Evolving Sisters Network and explaining what it is, so that women can step in tomorrow on the 19th as founding members. The doors will be open. I think our email goes out sometime around maybe by noon Pacific time. And you'll be able to join at the founding level. We keep the founding level at $22. And as long as you stay a member, it stays that way, $22 a month in perpetuity, as long as you stay a member. And that's just our honoring of you stepping in with us to create this. Because the truth is, this is not just my vision. The cool thing about Gene Key 11 and the gift frequency is that it comes through the archetypes. It comes through the collective unconscious. The archetypes are fractal patterns of past and future. And I love that, because last Divine Feminine Summit, I brought in the archetypes from the future to talk to us today. So there's no time and space inside the world of the archetypes, because this is the world of magic. This is the world of fairies. This is the unseen world. This is non-ordinary reality. This is irrational reality that makes up most of reality. But we need, and to experience it, we need to bring it through structure and form in 3D. Do you see how manifestation works? And I hope that the unfolding of the Evolving Sisters Network helps you understand how manifestation works. I didn't even know I was doing it. I was just doing it. And thankfully, I have a lot of Saturn in my chart. I say thankfully, the Saturn is maligned, but really Saturn is the coach, that Olympic coach that kicks your ass so that you can win the gold medal. My drishti, my third eye gaze, is on that gold medal. I'm playing the long game. I will win. Success will happen. The gold medal will happen. And it's not an I that wins. It's the feminine who gets to win through the platform. But I know that I'm the conduit, and I accept and receive my role. And as such, it will happen, because my drishti is on it. And what Gene Key 11 says is that you just keep showing up in the present moment, and it will show you what it is. So it's a yoga of bringing into form something from the unmanifest. And you have to have the architectural blueprints to do it. Like I have my team putting together the software platforms that are necessary to receive you into the network. But I also know that once you get into the network, you in your frequency will change and shape and morph what the network is. And I'm calling on the future sisters, the sisters who are not even born, the sisters of Earth, that are a very different breed than the sisters of Earth now, because the world is different. And we are creating her through our consciousness. Do you see how that 5D comes into play? Remember interstellar that I talked about from Gene Key 5? This is interstellar territory. This is the 5D. Gene Key 11 is that. So I'm calling her in a very practical way. Our future selves are supporting us to build the Evolving Sisters Network for who we get to be, for our future selves, for the women who are coming after us. That's happening in the present moment. And that's what the network is all about. So I can see that. And it's got to have very granular things, right? We got to do stuff inside of it. So what we're going to start off doing is the razor's edge, walking the razor's edge. I launched that for free in November. Now in January, we're going to get together as full-on community calls. That'll be part of the network, free for the network members. We'll offer it for a price for those of you who do not join. I don't know why you wouldn't, because we're going to make it such that you'll want to join, right? Pricing wise, because we want to incentivize all of you to say yes, to make it worth your while to have so much value inside the Evolving Sisters Network. So you get to come and have that on Sunday. That will be following our Gene Key transmission. And then we'll have a monthly call where we can have breakout sessions. I do some laser coaching. Some of the other coaches do some laser coaching. And then, as you know, I've had a call to action for pre-applications for Rise. Rise is the leadership incubator and apprenticeship. And those women over this next year, 2023, will be completely trained in leadership, and they'll bring their leadership. They'll train us. It's a collaboration. It's an unbecoming so that we can become who we need to be to step inside of the network and give some courses, classes, master classes, sessions, and also facilitate circles. So if you feel called to that level of leadership, if you've done enough of your shadow work, if you really want to give your gifts and you know what they are, you know who you are, and you're ready to go on a deep journey of leadership, then I invite you to reach out to me because I'm doing pre-applications. We don't start until February for that, but those women will be starting to give their gifts inside the network. That's my vision. It's grassroots. We don't need to have experts coming in. I mean, we'll have expert women for sure, and everyone's in their expertise, but I mean, like, you know, Brene Brown, God love her, but we've digested Brene Brown, right? Who's the other one? Gabby Bernstein, like beautiful women out there who are broadcasting their message on a mass level. I love those women, and we're digesting their teachings, but we can't put them on a pedestal and say they know something we don't know. That's not true. They wouldn't even want that. So now it's time to own our own power, to package our own gifts. And that's what we'll be doing inside the leadership incubator for the platform, for the women who step into the platform. So the price point on that is higher because it's definitely deeper training. But that's okay because the network is a place for everyone to start. Just start there. My vision of leadership is giving and receiving. It's a figure 8. And I'm going to say one more thing before I end, because you cannot make this stuff up. It's so cool. Just want to see if there's any more comments. Gene Key 11 talks in symbols. So pay attention to symbols. Symbols come from non-ordinary realities. Symbols are things like crows, ravens, snakes. Those are archetypal symbols, and they're from the non-ordinary reality, and they speak to us in volumes. You'll see on the website of the Evolving Sisters Network the symbol of like a figure 8, like an infinity. That's the symbol of the Evolving Sisters Network. Inside of that symbol contains the entire messaging of the Evolving Sisters Network. So you only have to look at a symbol. That's what a glyph is about, to receive the transmission of the entire frequency of it. Isn't that incredible? So we already have a soul symbol inside of the Evolving Sisters Network as part of this Gene Key 11 activation. So women will see it and they won't even know that they're looking at the symbol and that's what they've received, but they'll know they've received something. And just to presence it here, that figure 8 is infinity. It's the giving and receiving. There's no top down anymore. It's not a pyramid. It's an infinity. That's how leadership rolls. I am a student and I am a teacher. I am an audience member and a participant, and I'm also a leader. It works like that. I don't use the term follower. I don't like that term follower, but I participate in other people's offerings. I receive, in other words, and I give. That's the soul symbol. That's the movement. That's the water. Because that's the Aquarian age. We are not talking about top-down leadership. We're talking about grassroots, and sisters, that is what the Evolving Sisters Network is all about. So I'm super psyched that Gene Key 11 got me a chance to share my journey and my offering, which happens to coincide tomorrow. And you know what? I didn't even plan it. 6 months ago, I had no idea when this offering would be ready. None at all. Probably I thought January or February. So it goes to show you that there's something way bigger at work here than me or you. And so when we want to get nailed down and small and obscure and hide or think we know, Gene Key 11 says, just take a breath, arrive in this present moment, come back home, because there is something bigger that you can't see that is guiding you. And it starts from within inside of you, the sun, the activated sun inside your heart. And the more you do the shadow work and the more you clean that window, the sun gets to shine through. And then people see your divine light. I'm going to end there. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, hashtag replay. If you are here, I want to know who's here. Drop me an emoji. Let me know how you're feeling. And I can't wait to see you tomorrow inside the Evolving Sisters Network at evolvingsisters.com. Become a founding member and let's freaking do this. Lots and lots of love. May all beings benefit from the merits of our efforts.